Well, I suppose we should look at this in the context of the university and its mission at the years, and people will be aware that the motto of the university was "Do Different," which is something which it's not clear how we interpret it, but one of the things that they did do was to say that we wouldn't be a typical academic department. And two things were done differently in a way. One of those was to create a company, which is now a charitable organisation, before we actually created the School of International Development. So in 1967 we created a company which became the body which facilitated consultancy and other professional practice, and it wasn't until 1972 that we created the school. And that's a sort of peculiar model of higher education, but it's one which has served us extremely well over the years. I think initially the ambition was that we would merge research, teaching and professional practice in a sense to sort of bring academics down from their ivory tower and to be continuously updated in how they think about development through the fact that they're all actually doing work in the field. And even today, I think that stands us in good stead and keeps us ahead of the competition. I think probably there are two key ways in which we've changed what we do. The original company focused quite heavily on consultancy work, which is something which is still quite important to what we do. But in addition to that, we now operate a far more sort of research-rich environment. So we do a lot more sort of, I guess, what we'd call research contracts with research councils in the UK, but also organisations throughout the world. One of the other things that we do more of these days is training. Not training of undergraduate and postgraduate students, which is what the school does a lot of at any rate, but also what we might call professional or executive training for people who've reached sort of middle career stages.
I'm Roger Few. I'm a Senior Research Fellow at the International Development UEA. I run a number of research projects and I engage in a series of consultancies on issues connected with climate change, disaster risk reduction and international health. And as part of my job, one of the things I do is I run the short courses on climate change and development. Course participants come from various backgrounds and with from lots of different sectors and with different sorts of expertise. But I would say the course is targeted towards somebody who maybe in an organisation who's been given the portfolio, the responsibility, as it were, of dealing with climate change mitigation or adaptation issues, and are not necessarily pre-existing experts in the field, but people who already have quite a good knowledge of probably of issues surrounding sustainable development, certainly issues surrounding governance, and the idea is that those sorts of people with this kind of background expertise can really benefit from an intensive 2-week course where they get to understand all sorts of issues and implications of climate change. And not purely in a kind of technical way. I mean, one of the key aspects of the course is that we try to build in, as it were, state-of-the-art insights from academic research. And that's one of the key reasons that it's located here at the university. The idea of the course is that people will understand in a much deeper way the implications of climate change and action on climate change in developing countries. Including understanding some of the controversies and issues that are thrown up both by the impacts and by action taken to redress those. And we believe it's critical to set any understanding of climate change fully within an understanding of development processes, of the nature and conditions of poverty, and how that affects what is possible to do, how that affects how best to respond to the challenges. So the idea is that people will go away with a much more kind of thorough grounding, a much more thorough understanding of what climate change means for undertaking development projects or developing strategies or policy. We also run shorter term short courses, which are much more sort of concentrated. Inevitably they can't deal with the same depth, but what we do is provide introduction to some of the key issues. And also we can bring in modules that are specific to the requirements of those particular clients, who may be governments. So we're beginning to do that, and we can do that in situ. We can actually go out to the particular countries that have requested this form of training and provide it in person there with a small team. Last year we ran a very successful course, and one of the participants, who's obviously been to quite a few training courses, one of the comments from their feedback was that this is the best course that they'd ever attended.
So I have many areas of interest, actually. I'm primarily interested in everything to do with transboundary water management, but water policy issues generally. So everything from, 'cause I have great concerns about how we use water or misuse water, and also the policies that we're creating to help us improve perhaps water management. Generally quite lacking these days. I don't think we have the bigger picture in mind or the long-term picture in mind. So water policy generally, and when it comes to transboundary water issues in particular, water conflicts, area of deep concern and interest for me, especially in the Middle East. I'm doing a few international consultancies. Actually, in the last few months, I've been working on a few for International Development UEA, including facilitating the Middle East and North African Transboundary Water Management Program. The client is Ramböll Natura and Stockholm International Water Institute. So what they do is they bring, they give this course in Amman, Jordan, for about 30 people from all around the Middle East. And then they bring everyone into Stockholm for 15 days. And I was helping to facilitate that course for 3 or 4 days. I've also done some work for the Canadian International Development Research Council, their Cairo office. They've commissioned me through the International Development UEA to do a report, a synthesis report, first on the political economy of water demand management in Yemen and in Jordan, as well as now one report I've got underway, which I'm running with people here in environmental sciences and in the School of International Development, on the food, water, climate nexus. So trying to look at all the big issues of how water and food security relate to climate change in the Middle East and North Africa in particular. And the third, which is a continuing consultancy I do on an ad hoc basis, is working for the Negotiation Support Unit on the DFID-funded negotiation support project, helping the water negotiators in the Palestinian-Israeli water conflict to develop strategies and giving strategic advice on how to, well, hopefully resolve the conflict. Long way off. That consultancy might last for a long time, I'm afraid. Well, we're hoping, I mean, the ultimate goal is to resolve the water conflict. I mean, the issues right now is very asymmetric allocations with inequitable sharing of the water going on. Roughly 90% for the Israeli side, 10% for the Palestinian side, which is a problem for Palestinian state development, as well as an issue of concern in terms of regional security. So the idea is that you can help to balance the asymmetry in negotiations capacity so that a more sustainable and durable solution will be reached. But that's the ultimate goal. My expectations are we would hope to reduce the tensions, raise awareness of the problem, and contribute to not just to mitigating it, but ultimately to resolving it. But the politics are what's in the way. So that's why all this strategic, long-term, and lots of elliptical type of thinking is required. I'd be happy seeing the principles of international water law implemented in that region and then extended around the whole Jordan River basin.